So hello guys, and welcome to another video. And earlier, the nominees for the Game Awards were announced, and something seemed a little bit different this year, since there were quite a lot of Nintendo games that were nominated, and Nintendo seems to have a much bigger presence than in previous years. So, I know 2017, there was also like a pretty big presence for Nintendo, but it seemed like since then, they didn't really appear in a lot of the categories outside of like maybe one or two games. It really seemed like most of the Nintendo games were kind of either shoved into like one or two categories, especially like best family game or something like that, or like one of the games there was like only like one game that was in a couple categories or nominated for the game of the year. Like Xenoblade 3 was last year, then the year before it was Metroid Dread, and then before that Animal Crossing, and then before that Smash Bros. So it seemed like that there was really just kind of like one or two games that they would kind of throw out there in a couple categories. But this year it actually seems pretty consistent with how many nominations there are, and it kind of goes to show how strong of a year Nintendo has had, like for different games and everything. Like looking at Game of the Year in general, both Mario Wonder and Tears of the Kingdom were nominated, which is kind of similar to how Super Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild were nominated then. So it's pretty cool to see. I actually wasn't fully expecting Super Mario Bros. Wonder to be nominated, because sometimes they are a bit weird about 2D games. But I feel like Mario Wonder, it also kind of makes a lot of sense as well, considering the fact that the last two major mainline Mario games, Mario Maker and Super Mario Odyssey, both appeared. I know Mario Run and Super Mario Maker 2 are technically mainline games, but they're not like the huge mainline games like Mario Maker and Odyssey were. I mean, Mario Maker is also kind of its own thing as well, but they were both nominated, so it definitely makes a lot of sense to see Wonder nominated here. And Wonder had a huge impact. Like, it sold really well and it's continuing to sell really well, because 2D Mario games continue to sell well for quite a while. And it's just like it had like many great reviews and everything, so it definitely makes sense. And then Tears of the Kingdom, I definitely had a feeling this was going to be nominated. This is the one game that was almost guaranteed to be nominated, due to the fact that, like, a lot of, like, it was basically kind of, they kept putting it in the category for most anticipated game. Breath of the Wild won Game of the Year in 2017, and Tears of the Kingdom, just overall, is also a huge game. Like, it sold, like, 18 million units, like, within the first month. And it also, like, as similar to Mario Wonder, it also got, like, amazing reviews, and it's also, like, an absolutely excellent game. Both Mario Wonder and Tears of the Kingdom, I would say, are up there as some of my favorite games of all time, and are definitely worthy of being nominated for Game of the Year, like, alongside Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Spider-Man 2, and the Resident Evil 4 remake. I definitely think that's a pretty solid lineup for Game of the Year, like for the nominees and everything. Some people, like, especially Xbox fans, were kind of salty about the fact that Starfield wasn't nominated, but that's gonna happen. That's gonna happen. There's always gonna be, like, a certain game that people are gonna be a bit disappointed about. There's also, like, Hi-Fi Rush as well, which I heard was a pretty good game. So, some people were disappointed that that game wasn't nominated, but I think this is a pretty solid lineup. Like, even with the games that I haven't played on here, I've heard are, like, really good. So, yeah, I definitely think all the games that were nominated are definitely worthy of Game of the Year and everything. Especially Mario Wonder and Tears of the Kingdom for me personally. And like, Mario Wonder and Tears of the Kingdom are also nominated in a lot of other categories as well, like Best Game Direction and Best Art Direction. I was definitely glad to see Mario Wonder and Tears of the Kingdom be nominated for this, since it seems like Nintendo games like, it seems like sometimes they don't include them in things like Best Art Direction, as well as, like, Best Music. Like, Tears of the Kingdom was also under, like, Best Music and everything, which I definitely think, is pretty good, since Tears of the Kingdom, like, I know there's a lot of people who say that Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom just sounds like just like random notes on a piano, but that's really just like a couple of the songs. It's really like more of the ambiance than anything. Like, most of the game has, like, most of the tracks in the game are pretty good, but yeah, so there's like some other categories as well. Yeah, like Best Action Adventure Game, Tears of the Kingdom got nominated for that. And Best Family Game, Mario Wonder was nominated for that. And then Pikmin 4 was also nominated for that as well. But that's not the only category that Pikmin 4 was nominated for, which I am glad. And I'm glad that both of the Nintendo games that are in Best Family Game weren't only in Best Family Game. So I think that's pretty cool to see, and they also kind of, since Nintendo kind of is more spread out this year, as it should be, like, the Best Family Game category actually has, like, a lot of other games, like Sonic Superstars, Party Animals, Disney Illusion Island, so there's, like, more things in that category now than just Nintendo games. And then another category that at first I was a little surprised, but then I realized I wasn't really surprised, since Nintendo released quite a lot of strategy games this year, with the Best Sim/Strategy Game category, since Advance Wars, the remake, is in that category, as well as Fire Emblem Engage and Pikmin 4, and I was so glad to see Pikmin 4 in this category. Like, I was worried that they were just gonna write it off as, like, just a family game, but I'm glad they see the value of including Pikmin 4 in Best Strategy Game. And of course, that's the one that I chose for my vote. I mean, I like Fire Emblem Engage. Like, I mean, that was my first Fire Emblem game. And then Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp is also really good as well. And I definitely wouldn't be disappointed if either one of those games won, but Pikmin 4 kind of deserves this. Like, Pikmin 4 is the first Pikmin game in a decade, and it's really starting to take off and everything. I mean, I guess Advance Wars kind of deserves it as well, but oh man, it would be so nice to see Pikmin win at least one thing at the Game Awards, because Mario Wonder is probably going to take Best Family Game. But yeah, I kind of want to see Pikmin 4 get Best Strategy Game. And then Mario Wonder also got nominated for Best Multiplayer Game as well. Sometimes Nintendo games do end up being in this category, sometimes they're snubbed from this category. It kind of depends, but Mario Wonder, that definitely makes sense, since 2D Mario, I mean, since New Super Mario Bros. Wii, like I said in my review, they're pretty much known for multiplayer now. So it definitely makes a lot of sense. And then, one more category that Nintendo had an appearance in is Best Adaptation, with, like, the best TV, movie adaptations and everything. And the Mario movie ended up being in that category, which I am not surprised at all. I mean, I feel like that's pretty much a given, since that's one of the, like, that's the biggest video game adaptation that released this year. It would be kind of weird if they didn't include it. Like, they literally had a new trailer or a new clip last year at the Game Awards for the Mario movie, so definitely makes a lot of sense that the Mario movie is there. But yeah, I think it is pretty cool to see that Nintendo is more, like, balanced. I mean, they actually do have, like, the most nominations out of every company that is here. And I mean, at first it does kind of seem like that is a bit unfair and a bit weighted too much towards Nintendo, but that also includes the Nintendo games made by, like, second-party developers, like Advance Wars made by, well, WayForward is a third-party developer, but it's technically a first-party game published by Nintendo. And then Fire Emblem Engage is Intelligent Systems, and yeah, I feel like, and then also, like, it's very diverse. it's not just like one genre, like not just action adventure games, not just platformers. Like you have like a lot of different things, like strategy games, platformers, action games. Like there's so many different things here. So like the Nintendo games that did release this year have like a wide variety of different genres. And Nintendo also had a very strong first party lineup this year. Definitely kind of rivals 2017. So I do think Nintendo definitely deserves these nominations, since there's like quite a lot of things that Nintendo released this year. And yeah, like I said, it just goes to show like how good this year was for the Switch. And finally, I feel like there's a possibility that Nintendo could actually announce some interesting things here. Like, since they see that there's so many like nominations here, I feel like they would would have more incentive to announce something more interesting here, like not like a third-party exclusive like Bayonetta was last year, or something that technically isn't related to the games, like the Mario movie. So I hope we at least get something, like whether it be like an announcement for like Wind Waker and Twilight Princess on the Switch. That's one idea that I have. More information on either Peach Showtime or the Thousand Year Door remake. Oh, I would love more information on the Thousand Year Door remake. I hope that's what I'm hoping we'll get in terms of an announcement there. That would be perfect. But yeah, the only thing I feel like the only category that I feel like Nintendo or any of the games have been legitimately snubbed from is most anticipated game. Thousand Year Door should have been there. I mean, it is a remake, but I don't really think that, like, it still is like a very like ambitious remake. It's made from the ground up and everything, and it's a game that people have been wanting for quite a while. So I do think it is kind of worthy of being in that category, since Nintendo has been in that category for quite a while. Like, Tears of the Kingdom showed up in that category almost every year. So yeah, I feel like it is a bit weird that there like isn't anything there in that category, but yeah, overall, I think it's pretty good, and I think the Game Awards actually has some pretty good picks this year. It definitely does seem more balanced this year than it was in previous years. Like, I feel like they did kind of cater towards like Sony a lot in previous years, but not as much this year. Probably due to the fact that there were a lack of exclusives on both for both Sony and Microsoft compared to Nintendo. But yeah, anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more, and make sure to check out my Discord server and Twitter if you want to. Goodbye.